That is pretty cool. Let's talk about that because you actually hold several patents on that as well too, right?
Well, I have 12 patents.
That's pretty cool, actually. So why don't
It
you start with
is.
that's not a good story. First of all, describe what that thing is.
Okay. Uh, it's different than anything you've ever written, but at the same time, it's very natural. What I did was I reinvented the wheel. I took your traditional skateboard and your traditional bicycle wheel in the front, and I kind of combined them so that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This is where we discuss current events, personal growth, and any other random topic that crosses our minds. Our goal is to have a meaningful discussion that help us to see the topics we discuss more clearly. Our hope is we can help you expand your self-awareness, develop your critical thinking, and learn to be less reactive to the world around you. And most importantly, remember, be curious. If you like what you hear, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. We want to hear what you think.
Chris, happy Friday. Guess what day?
Happy Friday, Scott.
And we've got a very special guest today. This is my longtime friend, Brad Wernli.
Okay, so before you get far into that, what do you mean by special?
Special?
Define the word special.
Special means very near and dear to my heart.
Okay, now there's a couple of definitions for special out there.
Let me give you a example of special. So Brad was the best man at my wedding. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. So he knows Clement too?
Yeah.
Say that again?
So you know Clement too?
Who?
Clement Pepe. You know Clement, the guy who married me, the preacher guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that was a great day. We had a lot of fun, and my toast wasn't as good as I had hoped it to be, but nonetheless, we got through it, and everybody was fine.
Everybody was fine. Just give them food and alcohol, and everybody's fine for the most part.
Sorry to interrupt your introduction. Go ahead and go back to the introduction. I broke the flow there. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I was introducing. Yeah, so Brad, I don't really know how to define you. I would think that you're like an inventor and a builder. If I could just put a couple words on you, you like invent stuff and make stuff.
That about sums it up.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's good. So,
I'm a father.
Oh, that's right. You're a dad. You're a father. You have 4 kids.
Yeah. Got 4 adult children, and they're all doing good.
That's awesome.
And I'm not a professional podcaster.
You're not a professional. That's
neither are we. We have to make money to be professional.
Yes. That's exactly. So pretty much anything goes on the show. In fact, we like to avoid cussing as much as possible. And what is that noise? Is that coming from you?
I think it's from.
Oh, can you fix it? It's most distracting. Can you fix it?
Break it up.
Maybe not. Hey, Brad,
I'm not
are you still
hearing
there?
anymore.
Yeah.
That's good.
No problem.
Oh, good.
Okay,
cool.
Good. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, so what do we want to talk about today then? I've got like 10 things, but do you want to talk about anything, Brad? And anything goes on the show, pretty much, as long as it revolves around some form. If we can bring it back to how to think better, critical thinking, something like that.
Yeah. So just the day-to-day life in America today is quite the deal. But
what do you say? Quite the deal. Define.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead. What is it?
I'm no spring chicken. Like I'm getting up there. I'm gonna have my 65th birthday this year,
Oh my
and
gosh! Wow. Okay.
I know. Uh, it's uh, it's just amazing. Everything is just um, moving forward. I just keep plugging away at it. But I'm living in Southern California, and it's really quite the adventure out here. And building a house out in Palm Springs, California. So I commute, and I'm commuting back right now. It takes me about an hour and 20 minutes. I take 6 different freeways, and it's going good. We're in the final phase of the remodel of a 100-year-old house, and totally gutted the thing, and completely rebuilt it, redesigned the whole thing, and it's coming along pretty good.
Oh, interesting. That is
I
good.
don't know.
So,
We can talk about construction all day long. That's pretty much all I've done my whole life is build things. I build restaurants, warehouses, shopping centers, uh, obviously homes, furniture. Um, but one thing that I'm into right now, that I've been into and actually dealt with Scott with when he had Calhoun Photo Studios, was a new invention of a scooter. And we can talk
yes,
about that.
that is pretty cool. Let's talk about that because you actually hold several patents on that as well too, right?
I have 12 patents.
That's pretty cool, actually. So why don't
It
you start with
is.
that's not a good story. First of all, describe what that thing is.
Okay. Uh, it's different than anything you've ever ridden, but at the same time, it's very natural. What I did was I reinvented the wheel. I took your traditional skateboard and your traditional bicycle wheel in the front, and I kind of combined them so that you stand on the skateboard and you uh, ride the wheel in between your legs. So uh, you have a low platform that steers in the rear, and the front wheel is fixed. But the 20-inch wheel in the front, like a bicycle wheel, gives you incredible stability because of the gyroscopic effect of the wheel. And then it also cushions the ride and makes it very comfortable to ride. So basically, it's a hybrid. Then I electrified it. I put a couple of motors on it, and the motors and the remote control and the way you're standing kind of all works together. And you lean to turn. You don't steer. You use your body to lean left. You turn left. Lean right. You turn right. And it's a whole new feeling. But at the same time, I got to tell you, it's really fun and really natural.
Yeah, it's like a pretty cool thing. I mean, I would
But
say
it's
that
nothing like you've ever. Huh?
yeah, I'll see if I can cut in some video over it showing a picture of it around because I know you had like pretty much your whole team work on it. I mean, I know that you guys have you probably invested millions of dollars in this idea.
What's that? Say that again?
I said you probably invested millions of dollars in this idea, actual cash money, and you've made tens of thousands and sold tens of thousands of these, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a substantial investment in the beginning, there's a lot of things going on. There's patents and then intellectual property, design, molds, and manufacturing, and then of course there's social media, websites, and all that. So yeah, it takes a lot to. Once you get it up and running, though, the burn rate goes down a little bit, and you're able to just keep churning it out. The actual version that I have that I'm working on right now is not out on the market. I initially started with a non-motorized one and had a whole company centered around that particular model. But then COVID and our supply chain broke down. So I had to reinvent the wheel again and go back to the drawing board. And at that point, electric bikes started popping up everywhere. Everybody knows about the electric bike and how it's blossomed and taken off. And so I was looking at that, and I was like, I just came to the realization that I have to go electric. So I started working on that. And that turned out to be easy in some respects, but difficult in other respects. What I did was I actually stole the technology from electric skateboards, because the electric skateboard also has risen up. Getting back to construction, all of our tools are now battery operated. And so the battery and the electric tools and the electric bike and the electric skateboard and the electrifying technology that has blossomed actually only the last couple of years has really come up to speed. Has made it.
Hey, Brad, I want to interrupt you. We're having a hard time hearing you. There's a ton of popping, and it's just almost impossible to hear you. Is it possible?
Is that better? It's probably my headphones, actually.
Yeah, maybe you got
it. Hang on. Whoa. How's that? Is that better?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like many times better.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Problem is I can't hear you.
Oh, well, that's not really a problem, is it?
No. I mean, I can hear you. It's just not as good as when it's on my ears.
Okay, that's way better. Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. Yeah, we can work it out. Yeah, so that's the thing is electrifying the product now is the phase that I'm in, and I've kind of worked out a lot of the issues that come along with trying to make your own contraption, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
But,
so then I want to do this actually, because I love a good conspiracy theory. So can you talk about like a good conspiracy theory about the electric motor and why do you think it was delayed and all this other sort of stuff?
Yeah, I just think that we're in the electrical phase of society where everything is automated, and we're getting into the AI phase of society where everything's going to become even more automated, and we're losing a lot of our jobs because of automation. It's easy to make a robot do almost anything. Look at the car factories and the way the robots have taken over the manufacturing in a car assembly line.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a conspiracy, but I think it's a general direction that we are headed and continue to go.
Have you seen any automation on your work, on your job sites, or are you still kind of doing it the old way?
Not in the custom home business that's not prevalent yet, but
Yeah.
they're making robots for everything from framing the walls to laying bricks, sanding drywall, painting. There's a robot for just about everything these days.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. And then how? So I watched a show the other day on 3D printing of buildings. Have you done anything with 3D printing?
No, I haven't, but that's another thing that's becoming more and more popular.
Okay, all right, um, all right. Any other thing, Chris? Any other ideas? Anything how we want to steer this?
Well, I mean, you were talking about the electrification and all the, because I remember I went out of my way several years ago to get the whole family scooters, like the Razor scooters, right? But the ones with the big wheels, because I like the big wheels on them. And back then, buying an electric scooter would have been pricey to do, right? I mean, really pricey to do. Nowadays, they're so cheap to get one, and you get these people running around at 15 miles an hour on the sidewalk with no helmet on, and they can cause serious damage to the pedestrians. I had people nearly knock me over in downtown LA with some of these things. And I just find it, in my neighborhood now with the electric bikes you were mentioning, my daughter's high school requires all electric bike users to have a certification, which actually includes some kind of like a control test or riding test, whereas a regular bicyclist doesn't require that. And I mean, honestly, they're running around at sometimes 30, 40 miles an hour on these things and barely wearing a helmet, if you can call letting it hang off the back of your head wearing it. So it's I'm I love technology, but unintended consequences, they're coming.
Yeah. So where do you live, by the way?
Laguna Hills.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed your 949 number, but yeah, Laguna Hills, all of Southern California. I mean, I live in Laguna Beach, and it's amazing the number of people on electric bikes, our kids, and
They're on $4,000 electric bicycles. I mean, and they don't bother to lock them. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here?
yeah,
I'm like, I don't want to buy my daughter a $400 bicycle, let alone a $4,000 bicycle.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, price point's really important, and price point varies too on the quality. It you could go from, like, at the swap meet, I saw what looked like a pretty decent electric bike for $500, but I know they do go all the way. Like, some of the electric mountain bikes they get up there $8,000, $10,000. And
I don't know if you heard about it. A couple years ago, I remember there was a big thing going on in the Bay Area where all these people had $10,000 electric mountain bikes, and they were being held up and robbed for the bikes. They'd go riding on the trail. Someone would stop them with a gun and steal their bicycle.
Your bike.
yeah, what I'm trying to do with my electric scooter, it's called SkateBike, by the way, BYKE, SkateByke, skatebike.com. And what I'm trying to do is give you a vehicle that is inexpensive and super convenient with super low maintenance, if any maintenance, zero maintenance maybe. But it's portable, it's lightweight, it's convertible. It folds down, and sorry, I'm driving. Anyways, yeah, I'm trying to make a vehicle that is safer. I don't know if you've seen, and I don't want to, criticize anybody, but there are some contraptions out there that are breaking new ground, like the electric unicycle. I don't know if you've seen the electric unicycle, but the electric
I haven't seen one, but it didn't surprise me.
So it's called an EUC, electric unicycle, right? And they're doing 40, 50 miles an hour on them. And what they are is basically a wheel with platforms on each side and a huge battery and a gyroscope. So you control it by leaning forward or leaning left, leaning right. It has no
Well,
handlebars, no nothing to hold on to. You just
well,
literally stand on a wheel and lean forward and you go. And it's a very small group of people that market. It's a small market, but the people that do ride them, they wear helmets and full gear all the way down to shoulder pads and elbow pads and full coverage. Um, and they look fun. I haven't tried one, but then there's another category, another product out there that's called a OneWheel, and it has a wheel in the middle and a platform on each side of the front and back. Whereas the electric unicycle is left and right, the OneWheel has a platform front and back, and
well,
it too has
the
a
one wheel is much
gyroscope
more
in
like
it.
the one wheel is much more like a skateboard, right? I mean, it's got the one wheel right between your legs, and you've got one foot to the front and one foot to the back,
Yeah,
and
that's the one.
that
That's
one,
the
and
OneWheel.
it's priced at $1,000 to $1,500 if I remember correctly. Although it's got about a 7 to 15 mile range depending on what you get. And I know a lot of people who go camping will often take those with them, or they're living the van life. They'll often have, because it's
Right.
very small.
Yeah.
So the electric unicycle, what was the original company that came out with the
Segway.
two-wheel Segway? Yeah, so Segway, I remember seeing the Segway unicycle. I never thought of it as a unicycle, but yeah, that is what it was. But you stood on it. You didn't sit on it, the ones the early Segway ones. And it was a one
Right.
wheel, and it went pretty fast. And I remember the first time I saw one of those, and it was zipping by at probably 20 miles an hour. So I was really
Right.
kind of shocked at that.
Yeah. No, it's interesting the transformation, this whole electrifying of personal transportation vehicles has kind of gone. The evolution of it. Um, the Segway is kind of outdated now, but Segway's still around. They made a smaller Segway with no handlebars, but there is kind of a little, I don't know what you call it, but it's a control hole that goes in between your legs,
Like
and
like like shin height, knee height, right? That kind of little, almost like
yeah,
a short joystick or something. Yeah.
yeah, like a short joystick. And my vehicle, the SkateBike, it has a joystick. It doesn't have handlebars, but it's got like a joystick that you hold on to, which is really phenomenal. Because the problem with the OneWheel, I don't know if you've seen any uh, news articles of people getting hurt on the OneWheel, but the OneWheel has a problem of nothing to hold on to. So when it decides to stop or quit for some reason, the occupant keeps going, and that's not a good outcome. So what I did was I put something to hold on to. I put a joystick on mine so that you can hang on to it. If it does a couple things. It helps you with stability, but it also helps you steer. So you lean the joystick left and right, but it's not tied into the motor. So if you give it too much gas with the remote control, which is in the other hand, you're holding on with one arm and you got the remote control in the other arm. If you give it too much gas, the joystick will save you from falling backwards, and if you brake too hard, the joystick will make it able for you to control it and stay up. You don't go flying off of it because you have this connected piece of material between you and the board. It's really once you get the hang of it, it's really quite natural because you're just holding on, giving it a little gas, and the remote control controls the gas, the energy. It's electricity, but I say gas, but you get the idea. And the joystick, it it's just a little convenient apparatus that uh, makes it a lot safer. Uh, um, you know, I ride it for hours every day, and uh, it it hasn't failed me yet. It keeps me. It actually, because of the low center of gravity. The thing that's unique about my vehicle, so than almost anything else or anybody else, is that it has a very low center of gravity because of the 20-inch front wheel, and the board is down low like a skateboard, but the axle is way up high. So that gives you about 12 inches lower than the center of gravity, than the axle. 12 inches lower than the axle gives you a huge amount of control. Lower center of gravity gives you stability. And so you're, 150, 200 pounds of weight below the axle on an L-shaped apparatus. So if you look at let's say a framing square, uh, the shape of a framing square, one side's long and one side's shorter, and you're standing on the shorter side, and you've got a pole sticking up that you're holding on to that helps control it. And then you incorporate that with the gyroscopic effect of the wheel. A gyroscopic effect of the wheel is naturally stable. It stays. That's why a bicycle, if you just push it and let go of it, it stays up. The reason it stays up is because of the gyroscope inside the wheel, the gyroscopic effect of the wheel. It's really a phenomenal thing that I kind of harness or utilize. So you got the gyroscopic effect, you got the low center of gravity, and then you couple that with the rear steering where you just lean to turn. It's kind of like a boat. You know how a boat, you steer in the rear with the rudder? It's kind of like a rudder, only you have wheels and you're on the ground. So it's like steering a boat with wheels on it, that's electrified, and you got this cushiony, shock absorbing wheel in the front. It's really, I really struggle to describe the feeling. It's so good and so natural, and you got to ride one. That's all I got to say is you got to ride one.
Well, next time I'm walking around Laguna Beach, I'll be looking for you.
Say that again.
Next time I'm walking around Laguna Beach, I'll start looking for you.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there somewhere. I have a lot of fun, and people stop me all the time because it is an unusual contraption configuration of these different elements that we're familiar with, but nobody's put them together in this fashion to create such a unusual and safe, unusual, and fun thing to ride. I think we should talk about why people are afraid of new things. It seems to me like people, they want new things and they like new things, but they don't want new things. It's kind of like, I don't know, when the car was invented, for instance, people were, I'm riding a horse forever. I'm sticking with my horse and carriage. But I mean, like AI, I have a certain sense of there's going to be people that are anti AI, I think, because as a society, for some reason, we don't jump in with both feet on a new thing. Everybody is slow to initiate new things. What do you think? Am I right?
Yeah, but I think that's true of everything because change is risk, and risk
Yeah.
is danger and fear. And we are all programmed at such a low level in our evolution to be very protective of our life, and that meant anything that was different was dangerous. And I think that's still ingrained in a lot of our thinking. And it's only I like going back to the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule for everything. It's only 20% of the people that'll accept it and 80% will resist.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I know. And I see that. It's like, oh, I'm not touching that. I'll let you go first. Like they want everybody to adopt it and then they jump on board.
What is it? It's the cutting edge people, then it's the early adopters, and then it's the masses, right? So
Yeah.
I'm never a cutting edge person. I'll be an early adopter, but I don't want to be the first one out there. Right? I'll be the
Right.
second or third guy in line. I won't be the first one out there.
That's funny. Yeah, I know, and I think that's a big group. You got to get the first adopters or the initial people in there to break the glass ceiling or whatever you want to call it, and then it gets a little bit more. The thing about inventing or starting doing a startup or anything innovative, it's really more. You really got to build a community in order to have it, blossom or explode even. And building the community is the grassroots effect of what you've made. I would love to, see my scooter everywhere, like all over the world. I saw a video the other day, and there was like the guy was on a bike trail, and he was in, I think he was in Seattle, maybe, but they have beautiful bike trails. I mean, through the forest and just, gorgeous. No cars. The thing about Laguna Beach is it's very crowded and there's a lot of cars. In California in general, there's a lot of cars. But you get to some of these other places like Seattle, Washington, where they've adopted the bicycle, but even other countries like Norway and Scandinavian countries, they have a huge adaptation to the bicycle.
Yep.
And
They own multiple bicycles per person, per capita.
Yes, they have parking structures for bicycles, which I find pretty freaking amazing.
And if you stand in the bike lane, you'll get run over. I mean, literally run over.
Really? Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, if you walk around Denmark and as a pedestrian, you got to be on the ball to avoid getting in the way of the bicycles.
That's amazing. And my scooter is basically a simplified bicycle in some respects. Like I could see if this was invented before the bicycle, it might have been the thing that everybody rides. So I have to carve my way into the standardization of the bicycle and grab some of that market share and get it, easily accepted by the masses.
Well,
And
you
I
got to
mean,
build your community, like you said, you got to build your community.
yes. You got to break the glass ceiling, and then you got to build your community.
Well, so as you were talking, one of the things that came to mind was I was thinking of Apple.
Can you speak
and
up?
I was thinking of the company Apple and how they've got their community, right? They've built this image that even though their products are often late to market compared to other technology, that they build it pretty, they build it easy to use, and they end up having a huge following. Anytime an Apple product drops, it's news, right? It's incredible, and that's a following, that's a community that's very devoted to them. And then I was thinking about Tesla was that way for a long time until the whole political thing came out this year with Elon Musk and working for the government or contracted with the government. And I think that he kind of broke his community a little bit in that sense because it broke apart into two different pieces. But it really is amazing how the power of your community really drives the value of your company.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's quite amazing. Quite a visionary to take a concept like that and make it into quite the corporation.
Well, I mean, what is the why behind your product, right? I mean, the old Simon Sinek video where he uses Apple as the example, but he talks about start with why, right? What do you do? I make this cool little transportation device. Why do I do it? Because it's different, it's neat, it's safer, it's faster, whatever. But
Right,
why?
right.
What's the why, right? What's the purpose behind what you're building?
Um,
And you may not have an answer yet. I don't know if you have an answer, so not to
Yeah.
put you on the spot, but yeah.
No. It's just the highway patrol's out today, and I'm just making sure I'm okay. Yeah, the why. That's a big deal, and that's a good question. I just think that really fundamentally, um, we haven't reached the ultimate personal transportation vehicle yet, and there's room for improvement. And I think this is a step up from there, what is out there, what you can go and purchase. Like you said, you bought a bunch of scooters a few years ago, and that scooter that you bought, or those scooters that you bought, they they have some issues with safety and stability, and uh, uh, I personally think they're very uncomfortable. And the whole steering mechanism in the front, if you turn it too much, it becomes a brake and you flip over. So
Mhm.
it's not that stable. You have to use two hands at all times. And even though they're pumping them out there by the thousands, uh, we've accepted that. And I haven't. I think that I have improved on that concept and kind of changed the paradigm, uh, and made it more fun, more comfortable, more natural, and safer, and lighter and smaller. Uh, those are all good things.
Lighter and smaller than a regular scooter?
Oh yeah, well, I'm shooting for 22 to 25 pounds. That's what I'm trying to get at.
But it's electric, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because
So
20,
that's
25 pounds, mine are manual, so 20, 25 pounds is actually heavy for what I've got. But if you're talking
oh
electric,
yeah, yeah.
that's a different
Oh,
animal.
you mean the razor type? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I got the ones with the really big wheels because, to your point, small wheels are hard to control.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. You know, I've ridden a lot of those scooters, like the Lime and the other one, Bird,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
whatever else is out there. And um, well, one thing is they need a kickstand, right? Because they'll
Yep.
fall over. They're laying all over the sidewalk everywhere. And mine doesn't have a kickstand. You stop, you get off. That's it. That's all you got to do. So that's another attribute that I really love about it. Um, and then the stability with the handlebars in the front, it's just it, you have to pay attention and be very aware of your situation. Um, and mine is kind of like you naturally can let go of that problem of uh, instability. It's very stable because you're leaning to turn. You plan out your path a little bit more than you would on a scooter, and it's kind of a flow kind of a riding rather than a jerky kind of steering thing. It's a lot of fun. I mean, uh, it gets your adrenaline going. It kind of works your core, and at the same time, you're actually just like surfing on lane. But surfing more than a skateboard because you have the stability of that joystick to hold on to. So it's a combination of things that makes it work so well. Um, uh, I got some videos on. I put some videos up on Instagram under SkateBike, SkateByke, and you can see I'm recording, writing it, and having a good time all at the same time.
Hey, Brad, I want to go. One of our premises here that on the show is not just that we think critically, but we actually make stuff.
Say that
And
again.
it seems
You
that
gotta
we
speak
make
up,
stuff.
Scott.
Hey, that we
Sorry.
make stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. Um, and then I think so many people were just in this consuming thing where we just use it and then discard it when it's done, which is sort of a new sort of thing. Um, can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, we'd like to encourage people to start making stuff.
Yeah. That's a good point. I make stuff every day. When I'm building a house, I'm, you know, getting down to the details. What happened?
Yep, I can hear you. Are you there? Can you hear us?
I've
I'm
got a
here.
note that says his recording has stopped.
Really?
Uh-oh.
It
Yeah,
started again.
oh, there it started again. So it looks like
There we
something
go.
happened and it stopped recording. So I don't know how much we missed of your recording. It's just Scott and I sitting here.
Oh no, there we go. Hey, did you pay your phone bill this month?
I had a call come in, and I didn't answer it, and then when it stopped ringing, it cut off for some reason.
Oh, I got you. Okay. All right. So you're back now. So this is good.
Okay,
So
so
back to your
yeah,
point. Restate your question, Scott, so we pick it up on the recording.
Yeah, I
yeah,
want people to start making stuff, inventing stuff instead of just consuming just like gluttonous pigs like we are in America, and that we actually maybe make something instead of just consuming and getting fat. Like we're all fat now in America. We're all fat and sick.
yeah. I I think there's a lot of things, Scott, that uh, we buy.
Yeah.
Like you said, we consume, and people are used to going and getting something. Let's say you need a pop-up tent,
Yeah.
or a tool. You go, you buy it, you use it once, sits in the garage, you throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
And because I grew up on the job site, it's normal for me to make stuff. But I'm a very small group of people. Not everybody. It's natural for me to take an old skateboard and cut it in half and stick a big wheel on it. That was not for me. That was no, you know, right idea. It was just a natural. Excuse me. It was just a natural thing for me to see something that I wanted and then make it. I do it all the time. If I have a
Yeah.
problem or I'm trying to jack up my car and I don't have the right thing, I'll figure it out and I'll actually.
Okay, go ahead, take it. Just go ahead, take it. Well, Chris and I will entertain ourselves while you're doing that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, now to your point, Scott, I was thinking, um, in my garden this year, I got a lot of this Japanese herb called shiso. And it was hard to grow last year. I bought one plant, I put it in this big pot, and this year the seeds from last year were crazy. So I got like 50 plants out of it.
Gotcha.
And it's not, I mean, it's easy to grow in the right conditions, but I haven't had success. So I went ahead and I replanted them all over the yard, and I've got them growing all over. So I got so much shiso this year. And what I've been doing is, oh,
Hey,
Hey.
I'm telling Scott that one of the things I'm doing is I've got this herb growing in my garden this year, and so what I've been doing is harvesting it, dehydrating it, then I pulverize it into powder. I mix it with salt, and I make Japanese furikake that you put on rice and seasoning and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, I could easily buy this, but I'm not. I'm doing it myself. I'm making it myself. I'm making the effort to make, and I think it's not just the effort to do it. There is a certain amount of mental process that goes with figuring out how to do it. So like Brad, you were talking about finding a way to jack up your car when you don't have a jack. There's a mental process you got to, okay, so what do I got to do? What are the principles here? I got to raise it up. How can I do that? What tools do I have? How can I make that happen? And that, I think, is one of the things that when you're making stuff, you're really exploring that part of your brain that thinks through what it knows and how to figure stuff out. And that's the thing that so many people have gotten lazy, or that part of their brain is weak, and we need them to work on that to where they default to wanting to do something instead of just, let me go hire somebody to do it.
Well, yeah, and maybe they've not been taught. Maybe we're just in this. We're not in an environment where we want to make things or salvage. It's always like, this is go buy it. Is the first thought.
Well, it's because
I'm
production
going
got so
through the
cheap.
canyon. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay.
All right, Brad.
Yeah. But
We can
we live
hear
in a
you.
disposable society because it got so cheap to make stuff, right? So
Yeah.
I know one guy who buys the old AT&T phones that weigh like 30 pounds, and that's what he has in his house, is that old AT&T dial phone, right? But you think about it, that phone was expensive, but it lasted years because it was made with steel and all kinds of stuff in it.
Yeah.
And we don't make it that way because it's cheaper not to, but it's gotten so cheap that it's better for me to throw it away and buy a new one, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing how much we consume, and the packaging that is accompanied with everything. I got some new wheels delivered to my house, and it like filled up my trash can of the packaging that was accompanied with it. But getting back to making things is a good thing, and we should steer the society into that more, and using natural product, natural material, natural products. You bring up a thing that is here in Southern California, and they have these buildings that have like classes, or they have what do you call it? They have sessions, and they teach you how to build stuff. And it's
like makers workshops?
Yes, like Maker's Workshop, exactly. And that there should be a Maker's Workshop on every corner.
Yeah.
You go in there, you want to learn fiberglass, or you want to learn welding or woodworking, or ceramics or plaster or whatever. And there's a group of people that can help you do that. And I find that that kind of environment, it just embellishes the whole hands-on approach to solving problems. And I'm getting a lot out of AI too. Like if I have a question of, how my electronics work on my electric scooter, I don't know a whole lot of electronics. I wasn't schooled in that. So I'm teaching myself, what do I need? What does this wire go to? what's a battery management system? Those are new words for me, but I mean the world is just wide open right now with AI and uh, uh, computers and uh, workshops like makers. Uh, you could practically do anything. It used to be, you had to, if you wanted a video, you had to hire this guy and hire this guy, and you had to put them all together and get a coordinator to orchestrate the whole thing. Those days are gone. It's a level playing field. You can video, you can photo, you can AI it, you can write the program, blink of an eye, and make whatever you want. You can make a corporation off of just practically speaking it.
You can. The question is how many people do. Right at the end of the day, there's a mindset and a desire that seem to go hand in hand with people who actually build stuff, make stuff, do stuff, don't rely on stuff, don't buy stuff. There's something there that I think we're trying to somehow quantify or capture or call out, because I think there's a value in the skills behind that mindset that I'd like to see more people have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is the skills. You have to have skills. Like even with AI, if you don't know the proper language, it takes you much longer to get there. Like photo like writing code. There's certain languages that you would use, and you have to tell the AI, write this code in C++, or whatever. And so it's not just the skills, it's also being educated in that field. Like, for instance, a piece of wood, if you want to make it smooth, if it was a rough piece of wood, you would use a planer. Most people don't know what a planer is, or they know what a sander is, but another level of that is planing it down so that you can make it smooth, and then you sand it. And skills are very important. Language inside that skill is very important, and it takes a little dedication to get there. But the thing is that all that information and all the skills that you need are available to you now, much more than it has been ever in the history of the world, of mankind. And
Yep.
I think we'll get there. I really do. I think people will start branching out and teaching themselves new skills and new languages and new adapting to their needs and whatever they're trying to accomplish. I think there's a lot of talk about this age of intellect, and this age of building things, and this age of blossoming and moving forward, and the country, productivity has gone up, and it's because of all the resources that we have at our fingertips, I think, anyway. And so I think productivity is going to continue to, especially with robots, it's going to continue to increase. And there's a lot of speculation that people won't have jobs because the jobs will be already being done by robots, and the productivity will still be there, but the people will have a lot more free time. And I think that free time is essential to focus on now, so that free time is taken up into something like learning new skills and learning how to do something that you wouldn't have normally done had you not had that freedom, because of the AI or because of the robots or because of this or that.
So I'm going to push
We're
back
on
on
the
you a little
verge.
bit because
I think
I
we're
think that I was going to say I think that we're not. I think that back to the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people will do exactly what you said and they'll grow and they'll figure out how to use new things and they'll develop new things and they'll make new things. But 80% of the people don't have the mindset to even start down that path, right? And so building those skills you talked about requires you to ask the question, I made this chair. Why is it so rough? Well, I need to use a sander or I need to use a planer. And you learn by doing and failing. And the problem we have right now is that's a mindset so many people don't have is they don't want to fail, so they don't even try. Or they don't want to do it because it's going to be hard. Or I don't want to, it just doesn't feel good. And so I think the 20% of the people will develop more and we'll get the productivity out of them. But the other 80%, they're going to sit and they're going to wait for the next Game of Thrones binge watching marathon. They're going to wait for, the next whatever cheap alcohol or other stimulant we come up with to make them happy. They're, and that wealth you talk about that comes from that productivity is not being distributed amongst everyone. It's going to certain people who are building those things, and everyone else is going to get the dregs. And what does that mean for how they're going to enjoy their life, how they're going to live their life? So if they're of a mindset already to learn, they're on the fast track to doing well in the future. Everyone else,
right.
sorry to say, unless they're going to learn the hard way that they have to pick up these skills. They have to pick up this mindset.
No. You're talking to the king of procrastination. And yeah, I know how not to do stuff much better than I know how to do stuff, and I know how to do a lot.
And I'm sure you justify all of it very well in your head.
Oh, yes, I have a laundry list of things that need to get done immediately, and I'm good. I'm real good at like finding a reason not to. But within there is a little jewel of doing it, and I guess you have to realize that you don't do stuff in order to do stuff, because you have to tell yourself, do it now. I constantly have things that I need to do, like laundry, for example, and I have to tell myself, do it now. Don't wait, do it now. And that's how I get things done. Because if I didn't have that little voice inside of me, you're right. I'd grab a beer, a Corona, pop the top, go down to the beach, and just sit there and get in the sun. But,
well, and you could have a number. You could have a number of reasons why you do things, right? I mean, some of them is I want to make more money, I want a better job, I want to provide for my family. For someone like me, it's more like I just want to learn more stuff. I like knowing more stuff. I feel empowered the more I know. And we all have different things that drive us to go do and learn.
I'm losing you guys.
Oh no.
Yeah, you blipped there for a bit.
Yeah. Well, okay, so then Brad will come
It's
back
not
when
on
he
my
comes back.
side. I got 5 stars.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking up Scott fine. So you're the one who's coming in choppy on my ends, from what I can tell. So
he'll probably come back since he moves a little bit like that. So then, okay, so then with all this talk that I heard going on, I have a question. And my question is this then. What is the fundamental skill? Like, let's say you take a baby. Like, what are one of the first things you want to teach this little baby to do?
you want to reinforce curiosity.
And babies are inherently curious. They're
Yes,
curious about everything.
but there are things in life that turn you off from being curious. Like if you go and you stick your finger in the electrical socket and get shocked, you're not going to do that again, right?
Probably not. No.
So you don't want that to happen every time you're curious. You ask a question. You ask a question of your parents. Your parents are pissed off for whatever reason, and they shut you down by yelling at you, right?
Yeah.
You want to find a way to foster that curiosity, because I think curiosity will drive the learning, will drive the building, will drive the art. Curiosity is that a fundamental thing underneath it all, that if we can keep that curiosity as people get older and not shut it down, then I think people will naturally want to learn more, build more, and get better.
Yeah. So Brad, are you back now?
Yeah. Hey, take a look at
Okay.
Laguna Beach, guys.
Oh, there it is.
How's that looking?
Main Beach. It looks like Laguna Beach.
Yep.
Can you see it?
I can see
It's a
it.
bit choppy, but yes.
You there?
Yep.
Yeah, we're here. Okay, listen to me, Brad. I got to tell you something.
Okay.
So this is the question. The question is from kids of a young age, what skill or what thing do we need to instill in them to want to do this? And Chris said curiosity. And so let's assuming I got two questions. One, do you think that's right? Question two is, do you think there's a better answer? And then regardless of what the answer is, how do we get that instilled into kids from a young age?
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I had this conversation with my children, and there's generations, right? So I'm a boomer. There's X, Y, who knows Z, all these other generations, and they grew up with different things. My daughter, who's 25, has never had a computer, and at the same time, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
now we can. Yeah.
Okay. So she's grown up with a computer in her life. Like, not having a computer is not part of their life.
Yeah.
And on top of that, in the education system, in the public school system, they've kind of steered us away from making things. We used to have wood shop, we had electric shop, we had car shop, auto shop, whatever you want to call it. So there's been a agenda or a consciousness of moving away from working with your hands for some reason. We need to bring that back. We need to start working with our hands in school at a young age. If you look at other countries, they didn't walk away from that kind of stuff. You know, they teach their kids how to do things in school. I think they've lost their curiosity because they don't teach their how to make things. It goes hand in hand with making things. Curiosity and making things are two sides of the same coin. If you don't know how to make things, you're not going to be curious about how things work. Some people are, not everybody. There's a very limited amount, but some people have a natural curiosity. But a lot of times, you find yourself as a kid picking up a controller, and you're curious what the next level is. That's the height of their curiosity.
Yeah.
And there's so much more that it really, you hit on a good point, though. It really starts with the children, the next generation, and the next generation, and next generation. It's just like freedom in America is a generational thing. It has to constantly be taught and upheld in order for it to work, because it could disappear in a generation. Well, same thing about curiosity and how things work and how to make things. People in the suburbs or in the cities, kids, they have a lot of opportunity to buy everything that they want.
Yeah.
But I mean, you want a golden necklace, you go down and you buy it. But there's also, you can make a golden necklace. You literally can make one. You have to learn how to do it, and it goes for everything. not just a golden necklace. If you want, um, you want to sew some clothes, or you want to make some a hat, or you can literally. I remember when I was a kid, my dad made sandals as a side gig, and he went to the Sawdust Festival and he sold them. He made there was an era when you made stuff, and he made sandals and leather goods. He made leather belts, and remember the leather visors? I think I'll bring those back, by the way. But the whole hippie thing, he prospered off of that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is so. I'm just thinking in my head that, like, our school systems now, I'm gonna start to maybe integrate with schools in some way and start to teach or whatever. And
Yeah.
as I talk to different teachers, it's like our kids are getting dumber and dumber. It's so funny.
Oh my God.
As a society, we're getting dumber and dumber, even among the massive amount of information that we have available. I mean, our information has never been more equal and easy to get.
Scott, define dumb. Please define dumb.
Oh, here we go. Here's this whole logic and critical thinking.
I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna argue. No matter what you answer, I'm gonna argue with you. But define dumb.
Argue it. Dumb. What do we mean by dumb? It seems like people are getting less capable to take care of themselves and more dependent on somebody else.
And I'm going to say, and I agree with you, and I value the independent ability to be independent. Strongly value that. But I'm going to ask you this. Why does it matter in the future?
Why does it matter in the future?
You're going to have Uber Eats to feed you. You're going to have, Instacart to deliver your groceries. You're going to have Amazon to give you your toilet paper. Why do you need to be able to take care of yourself?
Well, because it's here's my big answer, Chris. Because what happens is there's an imbalance of power. So the person that's like delivering your toilet paper to you says when and how much you get. And if he says no, sorry, you're out of luck.
Then I'm gonna go buy it from Walmart and not from Amazon.
Okay, well that's fine as long as you can have that.
So but Scott, again, back to you. Why does the ability to take care of yourself be the criteria that you're valuing here in the future? I don't deny that the thinking ability of people today is different than it was in the past. I'm going to argue with you whether it's better or worse. That's a different thing. That's a value. And you've placed a value structure of they're getting dumber. I want to know what dumber means. You said it's a value structure of their independence. I'm requoting it. You can fix that if you want to. And so what I'm saying is, so what? Unless we go back to the 70s where we didn't have these things, we have these things.
Maybe.
It's a new world order. The world has changed.
Who knows how long? Well, they're not guaranteed. I mean, Chris, let's go back to toilet paper.
Scott,
right?
Nothing's guaranteed. And when that happens, we'll figure it out. We'll go through 20 years of chaos and we'll figure it out.
We had this thing called COVID. And one thing that freaked people out more than anything in COVID was the lack of toilet paper.
That's why I have 3 months supply in the garage.
Oh my God. Out of all the things I can make, I don't think I can make toilet paper.
You could figure it out. If it was really something you really wanted to do, you could figure out how to make it.
Yeah.
Well, you could.
Yeah, but Scott, that's the point. Okay, so we can figure it out. So we would do well in a zombie apocalypse scenario, right? Where production is gone, where factories are gone. We would have a better chance because of the mindset we're in, our problem-solving capabilities. We'd have a better chance to survive that. But if you're planning for the apocalypse, that's a totally different mindset than, life is just going to move on, technology is going to make changes. So kids don't know how to do math anymore. They use calculators. Well, that would, in my mind, mean they're dumber from that perspective. But maybe they don't need to do math in their head anymore because from now on, they're going to have their phone to do it all for them. And if that's truly the case, then why do they need to know how to do math anymore?
Well, here's my problem is the power gradient shifts, right? So in my mind, if you want a stable system, you want to make sure power is distributed approximately evenly and not clumped up in
Oh,
one.
where does that come from? Where does that assumption come from?
That comes from, that's a computer science assumption.
Yeah, so you're
Um,
saying that the more stable society has a better power distribution of amongst the people of its citizens.
that any system, yes, works better with
Okay,
that.
so I would ask you to prove that because I don't necessarily agree with that, particularly when it comes to social systems or political systems.
Oh, interesting. Okay, all right.
You're taking a technical or a technical viewpoint here, and you're applying it to society. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Yeah, because
Convince me.
here's the reason. Here's the reason I would like you to agree with it, actually, or just something to consider. So if you have too much power isolated in one source and something goes wrong with that power, if it breaks, it goes crazy, whatever happens like that, there's so many people dependent upon that, and it's not easy to switch to a secondary source. And
Sure.
in fact, it could be if that's your single source, you're just in big trouble for a long time until we get that source figured out again, aka toilet paper in COVID.
But Scott, this is nature. This is how nature works. If your heart gives out, you don't have a backup. You die.
Yeah, that's okay. People die. We're not talking about
Yeah.
people dying.
So no, but you're saying, that distribution of power, that means we want decentralization, we want everything to be independent of itself, and I'm saying that's not how the body works as an organism. We have
Well, we're
specializations. We have different things that do different things. That's
Well, I'm not talking
specialization.
about organs inside your body. I'm talking
Well,
about.
and I'm equating that to society. We have organs in society that run different things in different ways for us.
Oh, that you're tying those together, actually. I see. I see what you're doing, actually. And that's a really bad idea because that's called a faulty analogy.
Why is that a faulty analogy? It is an analogy, but what's faulty about the analogy? Just because it doesn't agree with your thinking doesn't make it faulty.
That was my principal reason because I'm right and you're wrong, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And that's so, and so that is a faulty assumption right there, right? You have to convince me that your assumption of distributed power makes more sense. It feels fair, and in the Judeo-Christian value system, I agree that we tend to like that. But we know that human nature, those with power accumulate power, no matter what what structure we're in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way it
and
is.
Chris, what you should do, since I want to equalize power, is you should just admit that I'm smarter and more powerful than you, and you should just do as you're told. That's
But
what
then,
I
Scott,
would.
then why are you bothering to build a company? Because you don't need more. Because that just gives more power to you over other people. You should just give up. You want everyone to be equal.
I never said that. I just
But
said.
okay. So now it's okay. Okay. Wait. So what am I doing by doing that? I took what you said and I went to a more absurd viewpoint. So I did a straw man of what you just said, right?
Yeah, right.
You said
course, yeah.
So you're saying you want power equalization, and I said, well, then that means you should just give up your company because you don't. Why do you want to be better off than others?
Yeah. That was such a ludicrous thing. I didn't even hear it. It didn't even click in my brain. It's I do that as just like random noise bouncing off of me.
You don't, but see, because that's you're saying you don't see a connection between the two. I see a connection between the two. Why strain to become better in society to get more? To get more means unequal distribution.
Unequal distribution. I guess
I
that's
work
one
harder.
thing.
I work harder. I do more. I get a bigger chunk.
Yeah, because it's a system that's based on. Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going, Brad?
I made it back. I'm trying to run a business here, guys.
Okay, trying to run a bit. That's okay, actually. We're talking about basically, Brad. What we're talking about is just how wrong Chris is, actually, and we try to make this point at least once.
I'm only
or twice.
wrong because he doesn't agree, right?
No.
Obviously, it has nothing to do with me being right or wrong in the absolute. It has to do with just it doesn't agree with him.
Yeah.
No, this is a very common thing. It's an ego. You guys both have egos, and you're trying to make your ego win, which is perfectly fine.
I love my ego.
I have no ego.
Yeah, exactly. Chris doesn't have an ego. He's got so much ego he doesn't even know he's got one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you both could be right.
No,
depending
we
on your.
can't, because if we're both right, then one of us, then the other one's not wrong.
Hey, Brad, listen. The only thing I care about is I just want to get my trophy. I just want to get my trophy.
Yeah, that's the problem with the kids these days. They've
Wait.
been given
I want
participation.
I want a real trophy. I don't want the participation trophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I want.
you hit on a very good point though, because above all, we have a future that, or destiny, or whatever you want to call it, but we don't know what's going to happen. We're on the verge of turning into a whole new society, a whole new world where robots and computers take over everything, and we're going to have to find a new reason to do a simple thing like wake up in the morning. We need a reason to live. Our reason to live, at least in general, for me and a lot of people I know, our reason to live is to
eat,
get up
to
and
consume.
make it happen.
Yeah,
right?
make it happen.
Whatever it is. It usually has to do something with work and family and life in general. You put your life together. That's what keeps us going. We're going to lose that. We're going to lose it 100%. And people are going to be walking around and walking into walls and not knowing what to do because they're not needed.
But our robots will keep us from walking into walls, and they'll tell us what we need to know, and they'll tell us what we need to do.
Exactly.
That's what the robots will be doing that for us. So why do we need to do that anymore?
Because we have an internal trigger inside of us that initiates us or puts us into the, for lack of a better term, program that we do every day. We need to. It's like, why did Magellan circumvent the world, or not circumvent, but
Circumnavigate.
go around the world? Yes. Why did he do that? Why did only 18 people came back after he did all this adventure? Because they had a drive inside of them to do it, and we're going to lose that drive. Or I don't know if we'll lose it, but we're going to have to reinvent it. We're going to have the things that I do. Fortunately, what I do is not going to be taken over by any type of AI or robot. But there's a lot of people out there that it is going to be. It's like the suicide nets at Apple, at the company that, what's it called? Foxtrot or Foxtron or something.
Foxconn, yeah, in China.
They had suicide nets outside because when you put together an Apple iPhone 8 to 10 hours a day, the same piece for years on end, you want to jump out a window.
We're talking cultural differences here. There's a huge cultural difference in how you view suicide in Asian societies and American societies. I get your point. You have a valid point, but it's not an apples to apples comparison.
It's not an apple what?
It's not an apples to apples comparison. One of the things I always talk about is in Japan, when a kid gets bullied, he commits suicide. In the U.S., when a kid gets bullied, he kills the other person. It's a cultural mindset difference. It really is. And so Asian cultures in general. So the idea of, in the U.S., you got crazy doing that job day to day that you probably go postal, bad, horrible word to use, going postal, but you'd probably go postal and kill people around you. In Asian countries, it's often you kill yourself. Right. So,
right.
so that's a cultural thing. Right.
Yes,
I'm not saying you're wrong overall. I think the idea here, though, is because we don't know what the future looks like. And this is where the resistance to change is coming in, even for us. Because we don't know what the future looks like, we're looking at, we're losing that thing. We're losing that drive. We're losing that whatever it is. And we know that humankind as a whole is very adaptable, and we will adapt to a number of situations. So if we no longer have what drives us today, we will have what drives us tomorrow. We just have no idea what it looks like. And I'm not going to say it's a great thing that's going to drive us tomorrow. hopefully we can make it something good. But I think that's the way to view it. I made the comment to Scott last week. In the Industrial Revolution, when everyone was doing physical labor, we were all probably physically stronger than we are today. But I would not make the claim that we were better before the Industrial Revolution than we are today. To me, that makes no sense. So in today's world where knowledge is being replaced by computers and AI, I look at it and go, oh my God, we're going to lose our ability to do knowledge. But when you talk to someone who's farming today, they don't look at it as that's a what person doing farming. That's a person using a tractor, using tools to do farming really well. And I think that's what's going to happen with people. Us individually as humans, with the AI tools, with the computer tools, with whatever tools are out there, we're no longer going to be measured as an individual's intellectual capability. It's an individual plus tools intellectual capability. So yes, we may change our cognitive ability, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
So here's what I hear you saying, actually. You're using weak arguments, and of course, and you want us to turn into the Borg. Is that what you want? And just consume things?
So I don't even see how that could be connected. So you're trying to make a straw man argument, but I don't see how you're getting to that at all. That's not even a straw man. That's not even like an inflatable man. It's what the hell is that?
Okay, let me bring this down into a way that you can understand. Here, let me simplify.
Okay, so now here's the attack on my ability to reason. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, exactly. So what we're seeing is as we become more and more connected in society, 100 years ago, for the most part, everybody built and created the stuff that they used. They would farm, or they would fix their wagon, or they'd buy
make their clothes.
Stuff. They'd make their clothes, right? Now we depend more and more on others to do basic functionality for us. And that trend is just continuing. And there's going to become a point when people can't do anything by themselves unless a bunch of other people help them.
Sure.
And which basically means
that's part of societal growth. Yeah.
Yeah, we give up part of our control, and all the power gets consolidated into the hands of just a few people. And people are corruptible for certain, and so therefore that can create our whole society to be corrupted. That's why I'm against it.
So, Scott, if one thing goes under and is corrupted, go back to toilet paper if you want to use toilet paper. If the toilet paper companies become evil and start rationing toilet paper and using it as a source of power and control, what is society going to do?
Well, toilet paper is a relatively easy one to get around, although people were freaked out like crazy in toilet paper.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking you, let's say the toilet paper goes out of existence and we no longer have companies making toilet paper. What is society going to do?
Well, they'll figure out alternatives to toilet paper.
Yep. And more people will start making toilet paper, and we'll get a bunch of startup toilet paper companies with angel investors putting their money into it. Whatever the heck it is that we're gonna have today, we will. They're
gonna make a rubber sleeve that goes over your finger that you can dispose. That's disposable.
Oh, that's nice. Or you can reuse it.
But I think you the point being, Scott, yes, those things can happen, but we're talking about. We have the ability, and I'm not saying it's going to be smooth sailing with no hiccups, but we have a way to compensate for that, right? All the stuff you're talking about that's getting consolidated outside of an individual's capability is stuff that could come back in. I think what you need to concentrate on is the stuff I think you're worried about is the stuff that can't be brought back in if it fails. So if we shift everything to AI and then AI goes under, right? We shift all of our stuff to AI and then one day AI all collapse.
I think that's pretty much the worst case scenario right there, right?
Right. That I think is kind of where you're trying to get to. Is that correct? Where it's that kind of impact you're worried about?
I mean, certainly there's going to be things that are going to be more painful to replace than toilet paper, but I'm talking about the big stuff. I'm talking about food, finances, basically money. Those.
So what happens when that happens? When the banks all disappear, what happens?
The economy will collapse.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people will die. Tremendous amount of number.
Yes, a lot of people will die. Yes.
Most people will die.
Most people will die. Yes.
but there'll be some people who figure it out. There'll be some people who love it, and there'll be some people who thrive in that environment.
Sure. So what I'm acknowledging that lots of people will die in that scenario. What are you trying to say though about this?
Well. I mean, I think it's a fair argument to say that I would like to avoid most people dying.
But when I bring up conversations around wealth distribution and the stress and the fact that we may have a civil war coming up in some point in the next 20 years, you say I just want to make enough money so I can survive. That's your response in most cases.
Well, that's
So now
step
you're
one.
you're arguing the societal side right now.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Chris. Here's the part that you again missed. You missed the subtleties in my nuance, actually. So I've got to take care of.
I think you need to express them for me to hear them.
Okay, gotcha. So you can't read my mind. Okay, that's okay. Brad, can you read my mind? You know how to read my mind, right?
It's a short story, but yeah.
What I'm trying to say is before you can help other people, you got to help yourself first. That's all I'm saying. So if in order for me to help somebody make something, I've got to know how to make that thing first.
Okay.
That's it. That's my whole argument. That's all I'm getting to. Simple.
So what does that mean as far as this particular conversation we started with?
Well, I'm trying to avoid 80% of people dying. That was my initial problem I'm trying to solve.
What? That's the first time I've heard you state that.
Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm trying to do, because what's going to happen is if too much power gets consolidated in too few people, actually, eventually they're going to go haywire. Greed's going to kick in, and then they're going to want to control everybody else, and it's going to be miserable, if not death, for 80% of people.
And so how are you stopping that?
By distributing the power, by hopefully, before people get so lazy and willingly give up control because they trade comfort for resources, that I want to wake them up a little bit.
The whole reason that we have the whole reason that we're having this conversation, that we're able to podcast, is because we've given up our privacy and transferred it over to our phone. And so they know where we're at. They know we're doing this podcast, they being who knows who that is. But nonetheless, convenience is going to be the thing that kills us.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, how many people do you know hire a gardener?
I do.
Yeah. Well, why don't you do it yourself, Scott? Take back the power. Because it's convenient. Oh my gosh. So you start with a gardener, and then you start going out to eat, and then you start having food delivered. And it's a slippery slope. You're going to end up where you're going to have a robot wiping your ass, because that's going to be easier than doing it yourself.
Well,
I just want a robot to carry me home from the bar.
That should be easy.
If you could just get your scooter, get some AI on there, Brad. Come on, just hook it up with some sensors or something.
You're absolutely right. This is a great conversation, because we are on a slippery slope, and it's either going to be absolutely glorious with golden roads, or it's going to be a complete shit show. And on another respect, it all depends on, like you said, who the people with the power are. If the people, it's like, what's his name? Elon Musk wants to build his AI founded in truth. No swaying or spinning it one way or the other. The AI has to be, according to him, has to be grounded in truth. If it's not grounded in truth, then we're up for a shit show. And I think he might be right, because it's going to be ultimately the mitigating factor in the way society develops or has developed. The whole thing about the court system and the Supreme Court is, the bottom line is has to do with truth. And so if we lay that foundation, we could have a really glorious outcome. And the mitigating factor is the people in charge, Larry Allison and OpenAI, and the people out there that are starting to take control. They have to realize they have to realize that they can't implement their agenda into what is coming.
Can't here is a judgment call, right? Can't is not, they're not incapable of it.
Say that again?
When you say can't, you mean they shouldn't, not that they can't.
Yes, they shouldn't.
Okay,
Right.
I want to be specific here. They can do it. They can implement whatever they want in it, right?
Yeah.
And so my claim is this: as soon as you have more than one human involved in anything, there's no longer an actual truth.
No,
because everyone's interpreting it in their own way. Now there's reality, and reality is much more scientifically based, and that is measurable facts about the world around us. And I do think that's a lot of what Musk is implying there, going back to the physics of science and the physics of the world. But when people use the word truth, that is human interpretation of the world around them, and every human is a little different.
In many instances, truth is not subjective.
Truth, and I disagree. Truth is always subjective.
See, that's where you're wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Oh, many things are black and white. Did you stab her?
Black and white does not mean truth.
Black and white, it does mean truth. If
black and white means measurable reality. It's a measurable reality. It's a fact that I can measure. That is what you're going through. Did you stab her? That's a fact. That's not a truth. That's a fact.
No, it's a truth. You're conflicting the jargon here. Yeah, there's truth within the facts, and so you're conflicting the argument. You're wrong. You're wrong.
What you do is you're going to have right now. You're limiting the definition of truth to facts. As soon as truth goes into ideology, as soon as truth goes into judgment, you no longer have that. So unless you want to split up your definition of truth to be only about facts, then I'll agree with you. But as soon as we talk about truths, bringing in religion, bringing in any belief at all, then it loses the ability to be called reality.
I don't know. You lost me there.
No, I mean, if you limit it to facts and you say truth is always facts, okay, I'll go along with that definition. But as soon as you say truth being about morals and intent, and as soon as you bring in anything else, an ideology, there is no truth that capitalism is better than communism. We believe it on our principled value system. That has nothing to do with truth. There is no reality that says one is better than the other.
No, I don't think ideology and truth are two sides of the same coin at all. In fact, they're two separate coins. Truth is very easy to establish.
Let me ask you this: some people had said when we bombed Iran that the Iranians were going to drop nuclear bombs on Israel. Is that truth?
Is it true that people said that?
No, people stated as fact that Iran will drop bombs on Israel when they get them.
The way I look at that is that Israel has always had conflict with Iran.
So, okay.
And Iran has always said that they want to eliminate Israel, right?
Sure.
Okay. So Israel had a way to take that threat away.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. That has nothing to do with my comment. My comment is when someone says Israel will drop will drop nuclear bombs on. The other way around. Iran will drop nuclear bombs on Israel when they get them, and they were stating it as fact.
So Iran has said that.
Have they done that?
Well, they can't.
No, but they didn't have.
So there's no knowable truth if it's real until it happens.
Right.
At that point, it's an opinion. It's a probabilistic.
Listen. I couldn't take Iran into court and convict them of dropping bombs on Israel just because they said they want to eliminate Israel.
So if someone believes that's true, does that make it true?
If someone believes that's true, does that make it true? No, it doesn't.
So then how do you have that conversation where someone says it's a fact, it's true that they will drop bombs if they get them?
Because that's just a threat. They're not saying the truth. They're not telling you true things. They're saying their intention. There's a difference between intention. All we did, or whoever, whatever, that our side, or, the United States or Israel, all we did was take that out of the conversation. They can't say we will.
I'm not talking about what we did. I'm talking about the person who I talked to who says it's a fact that they will drop nuclear bombs if they get them.
Yeah, well,
that is not a fact. That is not the truth. That is a strongly held belief that may be very, very probable.
Right.
I can say that's a 99% probability of being factual in the future should it happen.
Well, it's not. I think you have to take everything into consideration. Okay, so one part of the puzzle is the rhetoric coming from Iran. Another part of the puzzle is the location of Israel. Another part of the problem, or another thing to consider, is the history of both these countries. Another thing to consider is speeches that are being pushed out from. So you take all these things together, and you come up with the conclusion that you believe is true.
Wait. You believe it's true. There's no fact that it's true. There's no reality fact. This is back to what I was saying is there. If you want to talk about facts and reality and limit this truth to that, that's fine. But when you are articulating an idea that could or could not be true as the truth, then truth becomes. Then you're changing the definition of what truth is, and that's why I say there is no real truth.
So you're confusing what's true with the truth. The truth is something that's no. It's true.
Again, I'm saying the definition. Yeah, what is the definition here?
Okay, so truth is something that has already happened, and you're talking about a bombing that may happen that we believe is true.
Truth is something that's already happened.
The nuclear bomb that I believe, for all the data.
Whatever.
Yeah. The nuclear bomb that was going to Israel was a very real probable truth.
Probable truth.
Yeah.
You just said truth is something that happened.
Right.
And now you're saying it's probably happening.
That's why I said probable, because the probability of it is a very high percentage.
So now we're getting into truths and probable truths. You see, this is the problem I have with the definitional term, is we use the word truth in a broad way.
Listen, it's only one word. It's not a definition. It's just one word. It's the word truth. Truth will always prevail. It may take a long time. It may be hidden for a long time, but eventually the truth will come out, and the truth will set you free.
Truth will prevail is, I think, not the correct way to view it. Reality will prevail.
That's the definition. It doesn't matter if you want to call it reality. It doesn't matter if you want to call it reality or truth. The truth is you're pregnant. The truth is you're going to have a baby. It may be aborted, but still, if you're pregnant, the truth is you're going to have a baby. That's the outcome of it. You put you make some bread, you put it in the oven at the right temperature for the right amount of time. It's not bread when you put it in, but it's going to be bread when you take it out.
Yes, but it's not bread until you take it out.
No, but when you're making it, what do you call it? I'm making
probably bread.
Yes,
probability bread. I mean, what do you? Yeah. See, the distinction. The distinction I'm having here. The distinction I'm having here is, it's when people talk about truth, they're not all talking about the same thing.
Well, of course, yeah.
They're not. They haven't defined it to the same extent. Some people are looking at it through a mental filter. Other ones aren't.
Chris,
some people go back.
Truth?
I defined. I try to stay away from the word. I try to stay away from the word truth since we started talking about this, Scott. Because in my mind, I prefer to use the word factual reality, things that I can measure factually. So things that have happened and things that you and I can agree on the measurement of. However, we're going to measure.
I asked the question: how do you define truth?
So I no longer use the definition of truth except to say that it is now a person's interpretation of the facts.
Well, that's how you define it, a person's interpretation of the facts.
Yes, and when you and I agree on how we're measuring those facts, our truth is pretty much aligned. But when you and I don't agree on the measurement of those facts anymore, we start to deviate. So my truth is that Asians are better drivers than everyone else, and your truth is Italians are better drivers than everyone else, right? And we're not agreeing on the facts that we come up with.
Right.
And I think that's why I don't like using the word truth, because to me it's too individual and it's not separate enough. And so many people use the word truth as a separate reality, as a separate thing that's real, and I don't think everyone thinks that way.
What you're saying is your truth may not be my truth, right?
Sure. In fact, it definitely isn't 100% your truth. It's, it might be 95% your truth.
Right. But that's what we have courts and judges for, and other people in society. Everybody plays a factor one way or the other, but the truth is in there somewhere. The real, and yes, it can be manipulated, like WMDs. That was supposed to be truth, and it turned out to be false. So there's a good example of the truth becoming false. Because of people's interaction with the truth.
So let me ask you this. If somebody commits a crime against somebody, like they beat them up, and let's say the person who did the beating is of one race and the person who got the beating was of another race.
Hey, can I stop you just for a second, actually?
Go ahead.
You just made a logical fallacy. You just said that if somebody commits a crime against somebody by beating them up, it may not be a crime.
Okay, but it could be too. But it could be too. Wait. So you're saying that it's impossible for my scenario to exist?
No, you said what you said is that if somebody beats somebody up, it's a crime, and that implies
no.
But you implied all.
If somebody commits a crime against somebody, for example, if they beat them up.
Yeah.
Right? You assumed that meant that I always think beating someone up is a crime. I'm giving you an example of a situation. That's not what I said. That's what you heard. I said, for example, if someone beats someone up. You extrapolated that I'm saying all times someone beats someone up is a crime. I never said that. You interjected that. There is a scenario that I have in which I could say someone beating someone up is a crime, and I would be right.
Chris, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is why you're wrong in this case, actually, because I understand the structure of the English language, and I understand the implications of that. So now you're putting the onus on me that I didn't interpret what you said correctly when I did. According to your English, you said all. You meant all. You said all.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
You could easily change that whole comment that you made, if somebody objected to that comment, you could pivot easily and say, not all crimes or not all beating ups are crimes. But the way that you said it, and to Scott's point, you implied just by the English language that you were talking about all people being beat up are it's a crime.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
From,
Scott?
yeah, from like the mathematics, from the structure of the language, that's what you said.
I need you to point out the word then that did that, because that is not what I meant when I said that.
Well, what you mean and what you said are different things. Yeah.
You pivoted and elaborated on your explanation, but initially, I don't know what it was, but initially what you said implied what Scott is saying, that you're not right there. Not all beat ups are crimes.
Okay, so Scott, then what you're saying is that there's a sizable enough people who are getting beaten up that it's not a crime, that I should statistically include that in my definition.
Yeah, when you're saying that.
That's what I'm taking away from you, is that if I go out and measure 100 people getting beaten up, that there's enough people that aren't a crime in those situations that I should account for that in the way I'm talking.
It could be because ultimately what you said after I called you,
could be. I want you to state why you think that's important for me to caveat that.
Oh, here's why. So if you're making a claim, since this is How to Think Better podcast, you should speak with precision. That was an imprecise method of speaking.
Sure.
If you
something different, but you didn't say that.
But sure.
Think of yourself as Chris, think of yourself as the president of the United States, and there's a ton of weight on every word that you say. And if you said them fucker, or you can't say that on a podcast, but if you were the president and you said those dirty dogs, it wouldn't go over very well. So
you mean those blank hole countries that he talked about last time he was president?
Listen, I remember it was related to crimes and.
So my example here was, if someone commits a crime against someone else, and I said, for example, someone beats up someone else.
Yes,
right. That's what you said.
That's what I said. Right, and I understand where you're saying that you're hearing me say that means beating someone up is a crime, and I can see why that may be the case. But I can also again I can also say that this is just a scenario where someone beating someone up is a crime.
Yeah, but in the English language, right? If you actually understand and study grammar in the English language,
Scott, there's multiple ways for grammar to work. The eats, shoots, and leaves thing with an Oxford comma. I mean, there's a lot of variance here, and a lot of it has to do with how you understand the language too. It's not always going to be the way you're saying it is. This is where so much of where court law comes into play, understanding the definition of words and how words are used. We look at the Constitution. Scott, what I'm saying though is you've totally pulled us away from the point I'm trying to make here. You've totally taken us away from the conversation of truth and reality.
No, Chris, actually you have, because all you had to do was restate it, and then we would have moved on. But you wanted to.
I tried to restate it.
Well, restate it then, and then we'll move on.
Right. So if we have a situation where one person commits a crime against another, in this case, it's someone beating someone up.
Right. There you go. Much more control of your vernacular.
Yeah, that's better. That's more accurate.
It wouldn't have stopped you from saying it, Scott. If I'd gone that way, you still would have brought it up. But as long as you agree this time,
no, absolutely not. Not in that second example. No, I would not.
I think you would, knowing the way we've argued in the past. But regardless, okay. So in that scenario, and one person of the person doing the beating up is of one race, and the person getting beaten up is of another race, right? And so, do we try them as just committing a crime against someone, saying you beat that guy up, or do we try them for a hate crime? Right, and so now we get into intent.
Around it. It depends on the
and now we get into intent. And so let's say that the government decides they're going to try you for a hate crime because for whatever reason, the politics of the situation or what is true? Was the crime committed as a hate crime, or was the crime committed for some other purpose? Like he just didn't like that guy because he insulted him.
Well, we don't actually know unless we go into their brains.
No.
Until we scan their brain and look at it.
So the court's going to say one thing. The court's going to say yes or no regardless. And they're going to say, yes, he's guilty of a hate crime, regardless of whether he committed a hate crime or not.
Well, hang on. We don't know that. Now you just made another statement, and you just said the court's going to call him guilty of a hate crime. We don't know.
Guilty or not. No, they're going to say guilty or not, right? And then what'll happen is it'll either be upheld or not upheld. The person who's trying them is going to say, yes, you're right, he did this bad thing, or no, he didn't do this bad thing.
Oh yeah,
that's what the court's going to do, right? So if the court does say, hey, he's guilty of this hate crime, then regardless of what's truly going on in that person's mind, whatever the truth is, what it went through their mind. What society said was this other thing, and that now becomes the truth for society. It is no longer truth in reality; it's truth in how society views it. And this is why I have a hard time latching on to what the definition of truth is. You need to define for me what are the limits of truth in your definition for me to be able to have that conversation with you. And so I think it's much easier to say it's the factual reality that we can all agree upon and measure, because that at least goes back to something that's a little more objective than subjective. And if you want to say that's truth, I can live with that as being truth. But if you're not going to go to that level of detail, then I'm going to have a hard time saying truth is anything real.
Mostly you're true, but there are certain cases where that's not. That's a good argument. I got to think about that. And of course you're wrong.
No. He might be right, because the thing is that, like, if you take the O.J. Simpson case, for example, it was pretty obvious that the guy had a temper and that it could very well have been him, and a lot of people think that he did it. Okay, yeah. But what was decided in the courts, because of our influence, people's influence, they presented a picture of the truth that got him free.
Acquitted, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that's a good example of the truth not actually being reality. Yeah.
And this is why I really don't like the idea of a hate crime. A crime was committed. Yeah, a crime may or may not have been committed. Okay, let's assume a crime was committed, just for the sake of this conversation. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And if a crime was committed, the why may not be known. So the concept of a hate crime, why someone did something, to me is like, how do you get into someone's head and know that for truth? And that's why I have a hard time with that. And so when we get to
another good example is Sharia law and the way they beat women if they show their face or their hair because they don't have a hijab on, right? Hijab. And so in their mind, they're doing the right thing. They're actually not committing a crime. They're upholding the law.
Well, but that's a societal distinction, right? That if society says certain behaviors that in our society are wrong and therefore criminal, and another society says that's okay, so that's when we get into definitions of criminality, and that's a different thing, right?
No, it's not, because who's right? What's the truth? Is it okay to beat the women or not okay?
Right. So they have their truth and we have our truth, and which means the problem is they both vary from reality. The reality is someone beat someone up, someone hit someone killed someone. That's the reality. That's the factual reality. As soon as we start getting into judgments around that, then you start getting really difficult to state that that's true. And this is what happens so often when someone says, no, that's true. Trump is this way. Biden is that way. It's true, right?
Yeah.
And what is happening is you are now equating some fact with something more than that fact and claiming that fact is true, that this untrue fact is now, or unfactual thing is now true.
So in this one very narrow, very rare case,
Which seems to apply around the world, according to Brad, because we just came up with Sharia law in other places. So, yes, my one scenario, which is actually epic and worldwide and applies at every level of every society with all humanity. Go ahead, Scott.
Perfect.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Chris, at least you use English properly in that case. I will credit you for actually stringing together a set of words that I can understand. I don't agree with you, but at least you were clear. Thank you.
So the thing is that there is universal truths. There's different types of truth, I think. I'm not sure, but there's universal truths and there's chemical truths where you mix this thing with this thing and certain amounts, and
that's science, and I can easily call that reality or factual, right?
Exactly.
So as soon as you start subdividing truths, then you're fiddling with a definition, and that's why I have a hard time. It's my truth, it's your truth, it's our truth, it's actual truth, it's objective truth. I mean, they're all different. So and no one means the same thing when they say it. And quite often they have figured out another way, like the whole example of the Iran and the bombs was that someone has taken a probability and then said it's the truth. And in their mind, that makes it so real that it's okay to do something. It's okay to make decisions on probabilities. In fact, that's a huge part of life. But if you have to, in your mind, turn a probability into the truth for you to make a hard decision, then you're lying to yourself.
Well, that's okay. I wouldn't do anything if I didn't lie to myself.
Yeah, we lie to ourselves constantly, actually.
Yeah,
because it makes us feel good. We don't want to be wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the things that you do are a lie sometimes. You know.
Yeah, it's a big lie. It's all one big lie, actually.
Yeah. You know, we might come to the conclusion.
Then you're saying there's no truth. There is no truth then, because it's all a big lie, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. There is no truth. It depends on how you define truth, but yeah, truth is relative, many people say. Yeah, sure.
Oh, yep. Well, if it's relative, then the original argument that the truth is this real thing that's objective can't be true.
No. That's not true. What you just said. You said.
I think that your sample question is flawed.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's totally flawed what you just said.
Wait.
Because you're trying to ask a question about the truth about something that didn't happen.
Yeah.
No. Here's what I'm saying is someone says it's true.
Yeah.
They say it's the truth. And this isn't me saying it's the truth. It's them claiming it's the truth.
Well, yeah, but the burden of proof is on them. Then, okay, prove it then. Give me your evidence, right?
It's kind of like the bread in the oven. Had the Iranians had enough time, do you think it wasn't true that they would make a bomb and throw it over to Israel?
If you put me a month after they get the bomb, I can tell you if it was true or not.
Right. So it's all speculation, what you're saying.
It's all probability, yes.
Are you going to wait until the bomb is in the air to make it a truth?
No, and that's why I just said it's okay to make a decision off probability, but just recognize that you're making a decision on probability, not on truth.
Well, it's better than the truth because it stops another truth from happening, a devastating truth.
So many people feel the need to state the probability as a truth to justify a hard decision, when all they need to do is understand they're making a decision on probability. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying it's wrong to make a decision on probability. What I'm saying is don't lie to yourself and think that it's true.
Okay.
If the dough is in the oven long enough, it's going to be bread. So that's the probability of that happening. You're not lying to yourself.
But it's not bread yet, and I can come up with a dozen scenarios of how it doesn't become bread.
Well, let me tell you where you're both wrong, actually. This is what I think, actually. I think it's bread in the oven. It just needs to change state, but it's bread.
Oh, you think the ingredients are bread, but it's not in the final state yet?
Yeah, it's all the heat does is just change state. It just changes it
Yes.
from one state to another, actually. But all along, it's bread, but it's just in a
Right.
different state.
Right. And all along, there are nuclear weapons being made. And all it needed to do was change its state to become a bomb. Right?
I can come up with ways that the bread doesn't come out the way you think it's going to come out. I'm
Well,
not
yeah,
saying
yeah,
they're
but-
highly, I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're highly probable scenarios, but I can
Yeah,
come up
if you
with
leave
scenarios.
no, definitely. If you leave it in the oven too long, it's going to turn black and
Yeah.
be
If
unedible.
you don't have enough moisture, if you have too much moisture, if the temperature's too high, if the temperature's not high enough, there's all kinds of things that will change the outcome.
Yeah,
Yes.
but come on. I'd take that bet in Vegas. Do you think Iran's going to drop the bomb?
Again, you are talking probability. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with probability. You seem to be saying I'm saying there's something wrong with probability. No, I'm just saying don't lie to yourself that you know the answer because it hasn't happened. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody knows that the probability is really high. And
Sure.
you could put $1,000 down on it. So that
Sure.
pretty much makes it the truth.
Doesn't make it true. No, it doesn't make it true. That's the point.
It does. It makes it true.
No, it does not. Because then you're saying true is
Here's
something
what's
that hasn't
true.
happened.
Chris's panties are in a bunch right now. That's what's true.
No, it becomes if you
No,
let
you've
it
changed the definition. You've changed your definition of true in the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. We do. You know the reason I'm doing it, Chris, is just because it gets under your skin. It's like this is for me is more entertaining.
Well, Scott, you just said we need to be very clear and precise in our definition. I need you to give me a definition of true, and I will argue
No.
around it.
I didn't
Yeah.
say- you
Yes,
just
you
said-
did. You said we need to be precise in our language. So
I
you
never
be
said
precise.
we. I said
Chris.
you need to be precise in your language.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I don't
Okay,
say
so
that-
now I'm saying you need to be precise in your language, and I need you to define true so we can have a conversation around the word.
Hey, I accept that. I do need to be more precise in my language. 100%. That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I don't
No.
know if it's true.
That's the truth right there.
That's the truth. Okay, anyway,
For improvement.
Chris, can we bring up a principle? Because I do need to go in a couple of minutes, actually.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Bring up a principle.
But here's what I'd like to bring up a principle is like what we're talking about. And the reason this creates so much trouble is we got into black and white thinking as opposed to thinking in the gray zone, thinking with probability. I mean, I don't think you expressed your idea properly, in my opinion, but the point was 100% right.
Liz, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't think a 99% chance of something happening is lying to yourself.
No, it's not lying actually, but it's not 100%.
I didn't say it was lying, though.
Certainty.
You
I didn't
did.
say
You
it was
said
lying.
you said you're lying to yourself. That implies lying in some
You're
respect.
lying to yourself that it's true. These people are saying it's true. That's where I'm saying the problem is. They're using the
I
word
think-
true or truth. And I'm saying, no, it's probability. And I'm happy for you to use probability as your decision. It's just, I don't want you to tell me that one guy even told me it's 100% true. And I'm like, no, sorry. Nothing,
Well-
I'm enough of a physicist to say nothing is 100% true.
And I am too. I go by that school of thought. But if there's a transgender athlete competing against real women, it's a 99.999% that they're going to win.
I think you got too many nines, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's some things that are probable, very probable.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. In fact, it gets close enough to probability that we just call it 100% for all intents and purposes. And Chris, this is the
You call it
difference.
100%. I don't, but yeah, okay.
No, I know. But this is the difference between a mathematician and an engineer or a physicist. Because technically, if you keep dividing something in two, right, it's never going to get to zero. There's always going to be distance between
Yeah, what's that
two.
theory? You can never get to the end because you can only go halfway, but you can continue to go halfway to your almost whatever that
But
is. Yeah.
for the engineer, or for the builder, or for the physicist, hey man, you know what? It's close enough. We're calling it 0 from a practical standpoint.
For the physicist, I don't know if I agree with you on
Not
the
a
physicist
theoretical
aspect of that.
physicist, but a physicist working in industry, or a builder, or an engineer.
Okay,
At some
all right.
point, it's close enough. It's 0. We're there for all intents and
Okay.
purposes.
Yeah. And that
From a
cutoff,
practical point.
that cutoff is different for everybody. Some people might believe something different than the percentage that you believe that it is.
Right, but at some point, most people would agree that's close enough, you know.
And the decisions you make off of probability don't have to be caveated in the action you take. Something can only be 51% likely in your mind, and you still act 100 with 100% of your decision making that it's going to be this way. You don't sit there and go, I'm going to put 51% of my efforts into this and 39 into that and 10 into that. That's not the way you do it. You come up with a probability, then you make a choice and you go forward with it.
Well, that's not true. That's not the way I do it. You may do it that way, not me.
Let's take my scooter for example.
Yeah.
There's a high probability that it won't be successful, but I still work on it.
But not 100% of your efforts on it. Otherwise, you would quit your job and that's all you do all day long, right?
Right. I put a percentage of my time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And you figure out what level it's worth. On a probability on the benefits you get out of it, and that includes potential benefits in the future, what you're going to get out of it. You figured out what its value is to you and how much you're willing to put into it.
That's exactly right.
So if we could wrap this up with the Iran example, a lot of really smart people decided that the probability is high enough that if they get the opportunity, that we've got a preemptive strike. We've got to take away that capability from them. And there's probably a bunch of real smart
and high enough could be really high or not that high, depending on how you're looking at things. And that's fine, right? I mean, I can't say that the way a government thinks is the way an individual should think. You've got different things you're protecting, different aspects you're looking at, right? The geopolitical thought processes are not going to, value structures are not going to be identical to what yours and my value structures are. So even if I disagree with what they do, which I'm not saying I do, even if I were to, that doesn't mean I'm right in thinking the way I am, because again, I'm not valuing it off the same things they are.
Well, and you may not have all the information they have, right? Almost certainly.
No, I always have more information than everyone else. So
okay, that's awesome, Chris. I love that.
See, he's right. We do have all the information at our fingertips. That is a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And can I just make one more point, actually, if you allow me to? And I'm going to do it anyways, whether you allow me or not. Is that when you say government, it's important to realize that that's a group of people. There's no such thing as the government, you know?
Oh, shit. I had that wrong this whole time.
What do you group of people? Yes. What do you think is meant by when we say the government in that?
Well, it actually means a group of people that have been elected to power.
But when you're saying there's no government, because you said that as a second part. What do you mean? What are you thinking about when you say that? What I mean
is the government is a term that's made up to actually represent a group of people. Like a lot of people will speak in terms of, that horrible corporation made these decisions. I'm like, the corporation didn't decide anything. It was the group of people that have this thing called a wrapper called a corporation around them. But it's always down to people.
But that group of people may have its own culture or subculture, which is not normalized with the rest of culture.
Yeah, right. And we always call it, and we personify that as the corporation.
Right. Like the company I used to work at always had a culture where people would come in with fresh, bright ideas and how they wanted to change and make things better and optimize processes, and pretty soon they would get shut down because the culture was just to be responsive and not proactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so that's a cultural thing, and the people aren't doing anything wrong. The culture is that way because that's what they accepted as a group.
Well, and the culture, I would say, is the set of rules that the people interact together with. It's an agreed upon sort of how we interact.
I guess one of the things you would ask yourself is the government, using quotes here, culturally where you want them to be to represent your country?
Well, I would say no. I would think most people would say no. I think what is the
Right now,
big
I would
government
definitely say no, but yeah.
has like a 9% approval rate from everybody, which means which means that what 89% of people, no, 91% of people are not
Get the
agreeing
math
with
right.
what
Come
they're
on.
doing. I know. Come on, do my math. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, that is awesome. Do you think we can wrap this up so I can go eat dinner now? Because I'm in Arkansas 2 hours ahead of you guys, or
Oh my
Well,
God.
that's on you. That's on you. I'm sorry, but my truth is such that I don't
well,
have to eat yet.
hey, as far as I'm concerned, you guys can stay as long as you want, but I was gonna exit myself out of this
Well, let me go
conversation.
ahead and hit the stop. Okay, before we hit stop, what do we always say, Scott?
We always say, hey, like, subscribe, and also
Like,
comment
subscribe.
and tell Chris just how wrong he is. And there's been some great comments coming in, Chris, about how jacked up you are, actually. Have you been reading those?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you gotta
I
go
don't
read
think they're
them.
real. No, there's no truth in that. They're not real. I haven't seen them, so they're not part of my reality.
That's right, exactly. That's perfect. And then Mr. Brad Wernli, would you like to kind of close us out on anything, whatever, logic, words of wisdom, critical thinking, anything we should be
You
working
know,
on this week?
I'm just glad I made it home, and it's been enjoying the conversation with you guys. And
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here.
thanks for inviting me. And I'm glad we solved that world problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
We got like 6,743 left to do.
We'll get them. We'll get them. This is podcast number 41, I think, right, Chris?
Yes. So we'll tackle global warming next time. Is that the next one?
I would like to close out with saying that I really wish that the world was in total harmony and that
I do.
everybody just got along.
Yeah.
Like Rodney King says, can't we all just get along?
We just get along, actually. And so, Brad, is there anything you want to pitch, or can you, when I put this up there, could you put a link to your website or anything? Can you sell your product right now? I'm not sure if you.
I can take pre-orders. Yeah, if you go to skatebike.com and you can do pardon?
Spell it out.
SkateBike, SkateByke.com, and you could probably venture into a whole new world of scootering.
When are you going to start shipping? Do you have a plan for actually making and shipping, or?
Yeah, I should have some units ready by Christmas. I'm going to do small batches, like 10 at a time, and I can totally customize it too and make it into your personal product.
Okay, this is good. So this is what, if you could do after we get done here, just text me what information. I'll just put that in the show notes. A way to reach you however you want,
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right.
Yeah, and if you want to build a house in California, give me a call.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Brad is incredibly creative. I just remember that first time, like when you built that curved staircase, and you actually took those huge pieces of steel and had them bent into this curved thing, and that was pretty damn impressive,
That impressed me, actually.
That was pretty darn cool, actually. Yeah, that was very.
Yeah,
all right.
Nothing like building a radius staircase.
Yeah.
Overlooking beautiful Mission Viejo.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was super cool. All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
I like to build things. There's no doubt about it, and being creative is a big part of who I am, I guess. And I thank you guys for having this show, and I'll send you some info.
That's perfect. Awesome.
All right.
All right, Chris.
Thanks, everyone.
I'll talk to you later.
Subscribe and comment. I'm going to hit the stop button right now.